What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube, where you can give us a like and show people we exist. With your host, Komp, and
Charlie Chaplin.
Today's film is
Adam Chaplin, 2011.
Adam Chaplin, 2011. Directed by Emanuele De Santi, Giulio De Santi. Written by Emanuele De Santi, starring Emanuele De Santi, Valeria Sanino, Chirara Marfella. His life was torn apart. Or maybe I should just do it in the voice of the people.
His life was torn
apart, though, when his wife was murdered by mafia boss Danny. Filled with vengeance, Adam summoned the demon that endowed him with godlike strength, so that he might survive his journey through Heaven's Valley. That was my German accent.
Oh, wow, it was great.
Why did I pick Adam Chaplin? Because I was on Tumblr a long time ago, and I saw this little clip. They have sort of how Instagram has 60-second clips and stuff like that. It was just a clip of, I guess, the opening scene, you know, where he's on the rooftop beating the shit out of people into hell. And I saw that clip, and I was like, I have to see what this movie was about. I think I saw it around 2013.
You called it when you said it was very Story of Ricky.
Oh, it is, but it's also this. Here's the thing with other countries, they actually, I think, are open about enjoying anime and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't necessarily know that Italy does that, but I know France does that.
I've never associated Italy with
anime and stuff like
anime
that, right?
at all.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I was sort of surprised by this. But just watching the movie alone, you can be like, well, but you don't know if all of Italy is into anime, but certainly the people that made this film definitely.
No one I've ever met.
So France has a huge sort of, I think they're like only second to America, sort of like other countries that enjoy anime from Japan. But just by watching this film, there's absolutely no question that the pedigree of films that sort of inspired the directors and the whole crew of this company were things like Berserk. Berserk, in the sense, like, you probably were like, Berserk, not really, but you know the part where he has that upside down cross on his shoulder and it starts bleeding? You saw Berserk, right?
I could see where you... Yeah, I seen Berserk.
Yeah, remember whenever Guts' symbol on his shoulder bleeds, because that means demons are coming? So that happens in here. And I'm just loosely guessing that's
I love the way it squirts a cross of blood onto the walls.
Obviously, the biggest anime influence. Also, I'm sure maybe they did see Story of Ricky, because there's a lot of Story of Ricky influence.
They had to have. I feel like they had to.
The biggest influence, obviously, to me, has to be Fist of the North Star, which is this anime about a post-apocalyptic group of people, because they fight the exact same way in it, where they like punch, but their fists look like that blur.
You know, I've always heard of that.
It's a great movie. I forgot what I just saw. I just saw something recently that directly referenced Fist of the North Star, because Fist of the North Star, the opening of it, and I've mentioned it before in this series, has probably one of the greatest opening, or one of the visuals that I've seen that was like incredible. There's like, it's supposed to be the post-apocalypse, so obviously a lot of shit has happened, and they show the shot of the city, and there's like a high rise, and there's like what is it? It's like a ship. I don't know if it's a cruiser.
Oh, you've talked about this years ago.
It's a cruise. Yeah. It's like a cruise ship, or it's some sort of ship.
It's like in a building, like on top of a building.
It's lodged. It's like impaled in the building. So it makes you think, like, what the fuck happened here? Anyway, definitely Fist of the North Star directly inspired this movie. Anyway, so this movie is produced by this company called Necrostorm, which I always laugh at the name, because it sounds like, obviously, like edgy teenagers made up the name. Like, I could picture them going, "Hey, Giuseppe, let's make a movie called
You did Irish."
Thank you. And Necrostorm is this little group of filmmakers, I assume from Italy. They must all be from Italy. I thought they were Spanish, and then I realized they were Italian. This is years ago I saw it, and then I started watching a couple of their other films. And this director, Emanuele...
What kind of name is Adam Chaplin? That's not Italian at all.
I don't know. I was waiting for the main character to put on a bowler hat and walk around with a little stick. And then
it's like a silent film. You just hear smashing of fists and shit.
So he directed this and only another film called Judy that they did, which was a much more serious horror film. I think it's like a home invasion movie, that one, Judy. But obviously, to me, this is the best out of all the Necrostorm films. The Necrostorm films that I have seen, let me see. There is a movie that they made. We're gonna just a little deep dive this episode. We won't try not to be that long into it, but I just want to get into I don't know necessarily the history of Necrostorm, but I appreciate what they do because it's obviously it's a little group of filmmakers that have.
I mean, this is definitely low budget, but it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You know how we see those shitty fucking horror movies made by special effects? This is obviously made by people that know how to do special effects on a budget. Yeah. But you know how movies that we see that, like, let's just name them. What is
Skin Deep.
Skin Deep. Skin Deep had great special effects.
Yeah.
It was a terrible movie still. You liked it, right? I'm not sure if you liked it. Somebody.
I mean,
I remember the guy who suggested it to me thought I would like it, and I was like, no, this is all.
It's not like it's not a good movie from my memory, but it's funny. Like, you know.
What is that fucking? I always forget the name of that bowling alley rape movie. You know, the guy with the
big, it's a terrible movie.
I forget what the name. I think it's Splitting something. It has like it's a reference
to
balls or something.
We don't want to recommend it.
That one, and then the other one with the guy with the silver skull on his face.
That one annoyed me.
Laid to Rest.
The two of them we
saw.
So
those are like American movies that are made by special effects wizards.
It's like really
and those movies
good
all have
looking
very
and horrible
good
scripts.
Those movies have fantastic. Gutter Balls is the name of the rape fucking bowling ball movie, but they have fantastic effects, but they're terrible fucking movies. They're just bad movies, but the effects are great and the gore are great. The thing is with this one, the gore is fantastic and the film is very watchable. Yeah, and I had seen it a while ago. Yeah, I know. I watched it a long time ago. And I was like, oh, man, that was cool. And then I was like, I figured, I was like, oh, shit, time was coming so we could do this episode. And I was like, okay, let me just skim through it. And then I actually sat and watched the whole movie. And I was like, wow, this is a great movie. Like,
honestly, like, the only problem I have with this is it wasn't long enough.
It's clearly one of the better splatterpunk, like... This is one of the... Like, you know how people make... I liked Hobo with a Shotgun. And that's obviously exploitation grindhouse.
When I watched it though, kind of recently, I think I've seen like 3 times.
It doesn't live up to its thing.
Not quite as well as I expected.
Yeah, I think what happens the
budget shows a lot when you start.
There are things that happen with these films that sort of take it off kilter a little bit, because like with Hobo with a Shotgun, to me when it veers off course is when they introduce what are those two mutants that they have to, like, you know, the two mutants that kidnap the hobo? Forget their name, but
I remember the brother that sets fire to a school bus.
No, not those guys. I'm talking about the guys that wear chainmail and they look like they're knights.
Oh, they're called. They had like a special name for them too.
Yeah, and which I think I liked their design, but to me, I was like, where the fuck did this guy? I understand.
No, that didn't bother me. It was just like visually. Yeah, it's all cool because they got like all these like color schemes, got like, you know, the tints on the cameras and everything. But eventually, it's like, okay, this is just tints on a camera, and it's not like
right. And that sort of happens in here in a little bit with the Mike Carrera character, because there's a secondary character that comes into the film. And you're like, oh shit! So they're gonna set up some big giant fight.
But they didn't do enough character development,
right? And he's brought. I think they did enough character development for what he is for this type of film.
For that one guy, maybe.
Right.
But
I know,
like,
but he's absolutely wasted in the movie. Like it's just like.
That's what I'm saying. We'll get to it. If there was another like 10 minutes on the two brothers, the scummy brothers, and then another 10 minutes on that Mike Pereira guy, I think it would have been a better.
Yeah,
movie.
I hear what you mean. I would enjoy it. I wish.
And a little more on the guy and his wife. And the demon too, because it's like so quick.
So let me just get a little bit back into the Necrostorm. I don't know the history of the group. Obviously, they were like years before 2011. I'm sure they were there before 2008. They must be a group of Italian.
Storm of Death.
But I saw a second film. I was trying I was trying to watch a second film of theirs. Mm-hmm. Holy Christ! They made this movie called Tater City. Taeter.
Like
City.
Potatoes.
I don't know if that's what it means in Italy. I have no clue. And I was watching it with the thing I will give these movies, Necrostorm, they've got very good dubbing. Like, I don't know whether I'll buy, but the dubbing is like a little bit over the top, but it's still good. But I don't know why I can accept this dubbing, but not like when they dub badly for like The Host, like Asian films and stuff like that. Right. I don't know whether it's some sort of deep-seated sort of racism.
Well, I saw this in Italian. You saw it dubbed?
The original. The first time I saw the film was with an English dub, and I couldn't find it again and because they
Okay.
say that their movies actually sell in America, their movies don't sell in Italy. That's what I was reading an interview with one of the guys.
Yeah.
This version, I saw the Italian one, and I was like, okay, this is still good.
I
like
mean, the
I like the
host dubbing
voices.
was silly. It was like, "Hello, guys.
Yeah, it
How
was
are
really bad.
you?"
Like these I think, but I guess the reason is because the movies are so cartoonish that the voice acting sort of fits with it. Because the
Yeah.
voices are all cool in the
Even in
American dub.
Italian, it's fucking cartoonish. The voice acting.
But anyway, so
Everybody's like,
getting
how you doing? Blah, 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 blah,
so their
blah."
follow
Like
up
that.
film, is called Tater City, right? And
Uh-huh.
I feel like we should watch that, but I don't know if I can because the movie is, it might just like fucking make you go crazy, Danny, because the movie is
Right.
edited in such a way that it looks like an acid flashback.
Okay.
So the movie jumbles, and this is like throughout the whole fucking movie. I was watching it, and I would rub my eyes because I thought, "Oh my god, I'm having like some sort of
stuff
fucking
like that like
problem."
annoys me though, because it's like it's gimmicky. Like
I know, but it's like the whole movie looks like that, and I was like, I can't watch. I literally couldn't watch the movie. It's a movie where you can't
Yeah.
watch it because it's done purposefully to look like a fucking acid trip. Like it's just it made me sick to watch it, and I've
yeah,
never.
like stuff like that though. It's like it's
I've
cool
never-
for a scene, but like if no
Oh
one
shit!
wants
It's
to
on
feel like
Amazon
that the whole
Prime.
movie.
It's on Amazon Prime. Maybe I should try to. It literally made me sick to watch it, and I don't know
Yeah.
why that was. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. Where I've never seen a movie where it was purposely made to be unwatchable.
Let's try
Anyway.
not to do that one.
All right, so Adam Chaplin is this movie by the director Emmanuel
He's the
DeSanti. He
actor,
wrote
too.
it. Yeah, he's also the main guy. Imagine that being a handsome,
Could you imagine
ripped-
being that muscular and with that long hair and that nose?
and then having talent to make a movie.
And then your
so
brother's
good-looking.
like this little monster demon.
Yeah. So okay, let's do the. This is very much typical sort of revenge horror film. A guy's wife is killed by the mafia. The mafia is. I assume this is a post-apocalyptic weird sort of universe that they're living in. It's called
Yeah.
Heaven's Valley. And
Yeah, the mafia owns the police. Blah blah
Adam-
blah.
Adam Chaplin's wife or his girlfriend is killed. It's weird because his
It's his
girlfriend
wife.
looks like his wife. She looks like two different people. Because there's a part where she's sitting with him by a tree, in his dream flashback. And I was like, who the hell is this? And then she stands up, and then she looks like this gorgeous Italian woman. I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, she looked like somebody else when she was sitting with him. I don't understand what was going on. And but that's nothing about looks. It was just so framed weird that I was like, I didn't understand what was going on. But his girlfriend is set on fire, killed, much like Mandy, I guess, right? And she is burned because she didn't have money. And the main bad guy, I love that bad guy, Denny.
The guy with the cross, Denny.
Denny Richards. I don't understand any of these fucking names because the names are like
Yeah, Adam
most-
Chaplin, Denny.
Emily, Denny Richards, Ben, Mike Carrera. I was like, Mike Carrera? Like, what the fuck?
That's
is
it. Mike Carrera sounds like the guy in my gym class when
Like-
I was in high school.
Mike Carrera sounds like the singer for
Like,
fucking.
yo, you see Mike Carrera today in gym?
Like, if somebody asked me in the street, said, "Hey, you know Mike Carrera?" I'd be like, "Yeah, that's the singer for Faith No More, right?" Like, I would, I wouldn't know. Like, I don't know Mike Carrera. Like, it's just-
Also, Mike Carrera is played by two different people.
yes, I was surprised Monica Munoz played him because she's the main girl in Tater City. Like, when I read what I thought was going on, I thought the guy who played Adam Chaplin played Adam Chaplin, Mike Carrera, and I thought he also played the main bad guy, Denny, because I was like, because Denny's like,
Well,
a huge
anybody
guy.
could have played Denny because Denny's in a mask.
Yeah, and the thing is, the weird
No
thing is,
offense to what's his face, you know, the guy that's Jason. I can't think of who he is. The name of the guy that plays Jason in all the Friday the 13th movies.
oh yes, I know. Wow, we really forgot. I forgot his name too. Hey, well,
So-
he's in the fantastic movie. What was that fantastic movie that we saw? Death House. Great movie. Great movie.
It was like the A squad of horror.
Yeah, the
The fact that we
Expendables.
forgot it already doesn't even matter.
So-
It shows how stupid it was.
So anyway, I really liked the design. I was a little bit confused at how Denny works as a character because I don't mean like how this character works in the film. I mean like physically, because clearly in the beginning of the film he's like a human body and then his head is a puppet, but then the rest of the film he's an actor in a suit. So I don't understand what was going on because obviously if you look directly into his face as he's talking to Adam Chaplin's wife, His eyes are not moving. They're not wet. Like they don't look like
Death
like a
House.
human. Like they don't look like a. That's I said that already. They
Oh.
don't look like human eyeballs where they have saturation and wetness to them.
Right.
And his teeth chatter like the chittering demon.
Maybe
from
the
fucking-
dog removed the wetness of his
No,
eyes.
I'm saying just the actual physical presence of the guy looks like a puppet, like a person who's moving a puppet with their hand, his face.
Right.
But then later on in the film, when he's actually walking around, it's a guy, and then you can see him blink and shit like that, which doesn't make any sense. Either way, he's a great fucking design. He's like, how would you? He looks like the Toxic Avenger, but he has like a black sort of smiley face mask on with an upside down cross
on it. I like all the upside down crosses. You know what it reminded me of? We did this. It might have been like a VHS movie or one of those, but it was a short thing. Maybe it was ABC's of Death or something, where it was about this guy who creates a time portal to go into an alternate dimension.
Yes. That was the guy who did Time Crimes. Nacho.
Okay,
Nacho
and he goes
Vidal.
in, and there's like another version of him, and in that world, there's like apparently like multi-penis
Yeah,
men
right. All
and
these
like
mutated
floating
people and
blimps.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy sort of he has all the characters have great design. The only character that for some reason had a shitty design. What was it? The little demon guy. He's an obvious puppet throughout the whole film. He's a great looking puppet with human hands, sort of like, and the puppeteering is fantastic in this movie. Everything art production wise, but there's only one shot that I'll get to that's horrendous in this movie. But everything is production wise is fucking cool for what it is, like having no money for it. And like he's a puppet. Derek is this little, I guess, an imp or a demon that he watches over Adam Chaplin, and he talks over his shoulder and stuff like that. He's sort of like, you've never seen it, but we're gonna review it one day. Is Vampire Hunter D.
I have seen that.
Okay, Vampire Hunter D has like a talking hand. He has a face on his hand that sucks up demons and shit like that, and talks to him. It's sort of as like a sidekick. So this character Derek is a monster on his shoulder. It's very, very obviously a puppet.
You know what it reminded me of? Did you ever see Yu Yu Hakusho?
I saw like a couple of the first episodes, but I never got deep enough into it.
There's these two bad guys called the Togoro brothers.
Okay.
And
is one of them the guy with the gigantic weird muscles and shit like that?
Yeah. That's the younger brother, and then his older brother climbs on his shoulder and hangs there.
That is one of the most ugliest designs I've ever seen, but it's like super
No,
popular.
it gets so cool though because it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like it's supposed to be disgusting and insane.
I'm sure of it.
Like that's his like demonic power.
So
go on.
So Derek is an obvious puppet throughout the whole film, but at the very last scene, he's an actor with a face mask on, and I don't know why they did that because his face changes.
I didn't even catch that, to be honest.
I don't know how you didn't catch it because his whole facial.
Oh, you're talking like when he's like, "Are you ready to fulfill your promise?"
Yeah, all of a sudden his face is clean and blue, and you can see his eyeballs. And I was like, "What the fuck? Why did they change the look of like?" It didn't make no sense because he was a puppet through the whole film, and the last scene he's like a guy, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with the movie? Either way,
maybe they didn't have the budget. I don't
Still, the only practical effect that I thought was the worst thing I saw in this movie. There's a scene where they arrest Adam Chaplin in the beginning of the film because he kills he kills a mugger, and they show a cop car, but it's very clearly a toy car. Meanwhile, it cuts to another wide shot where I think it's a CGI car, and it looked perfectly normal. But for some reason, there's an insert shot of a toy car. It's very clearly a toy car. It looks so ridiculously stupid, but whatever. It doesn't matter. And the reason why I like the production
I want to go back and see that.
It's in the very beginning. The reason I like the production art in this film is because there's a scene. Obviously, they couldn't get all the sets that they could get. And other stuff is like when they obviously made buildings that didn't exist. Even like the last scene, where the buildings are exploding in
you remember when the building collapses on Mike Carrera?
I mean, it looks good, but
yeah,
there is a scene where I think Mike Carrera takes an elevator, but it's clearly not a real elevator. It's a fucking, it's like a cardboard wall that they just grimied up, and you can tell because obviously somebody just like closed the doors. Like if it was on, if you watch Star Trek and you see the doors, do that.
Yeah.
It's clearly somebody on the outside just fucking put a fake door in the way, and they even made up their own little, the progression of the floors on an elevator. They even did that, and that's just a small thing about that just made it look cool. It looks like a group of people obviously came together and made it, but it doesn't stop you from watching the film.
I mean,
Anyway,
all that low budget stuff to me
it's
made the
beautiful. I
film more
loved it. Oh
charming.
yeah, it's great. It's very charming.
Even
That's what I
even
liked
when it
about
was bad, it was kind of fun. Like,
And here's the thing: this is a movie that, like, we've seen a lot of gross movies. This is probably the grossest one I've ever seen. Like,
yeah, it's got some pretty good violence in there.
It's very good violence. This is even more grotesque than Story of Ricky. But it's just there's something weird it's dirty feeling. Like
this is like a movie where like it shows homeless people and like they look like they're like zombies or something.
Yeah, like that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, I wanted to say that everybody looks so and I think that might just because they're the same actors playing other, but they're not. Obviously, it was a lot. There was actual.
No, I think they just like everybody just has some kind of weird physical deformity.
Yeah,
in this world.
And I figured you would appreciate that because like I know how you like characters that look but they all look so gross. Like I've never seen a movie where every character
even the son of Denny Richards is like blind. He's missing his eyes and shit.
Yeah, he's a director of Tater City. Like he's like the second sort of big guy.
Who, the brother?
Storm. Yeah, the guy with the black eyes, the blind one.
Okay.
And I remember while looking, and the part where he lifts down his eyelid and his fingers in his eye, and I was like, "Ugh!" Like I was just gross.
Mm-hmm.
And but like the violence is so fucking incredible for this film.
I do like how like fucking I don't know how to like. This is like I know you hate the movie Hatchet, but the level of force that he uses when he's hurting people,
right? Like when he breaks open the guy's head and shit.
It's just like full fucking force. Each hit is like full force.
Yeah,
I love that.
Every other film that I've seen in this, when we do horror deconstruction, like the violence in it pales in comparison to this. Like, and there obviously can be sort of violence like in Antichrist, where it's just like holy fuck, like it looks too real.
Or Gerald's Game, oy.
But in those are too horrible fucking violence in that.
God.
But the violence in here is like very stylized. But like they linger on the dead bodies, like just the opening shots are like these dead corrupt cops.
Definitely
and stuff like
lot of blood in this movie.
And I just love how like his hands have like this steaming power because I guess they're like sort of always charged up to inflict like violence on people, and he just does this thing directly from Fist of the North Star. I will send you a clip later so you can be like, oh yeah,
I'm just gonna watch it. I have to
it's great.
watch it.
And like he cuts people with his hands, like he pulls out the main guy Denny's throat at the very end of it. It's just
I like when he breaks the bone and then you see the guy's body just start exploding and shit.
I like how he impales that guy like up his ass with a pole.
Like you don't even know what's happening in that scene. Like his skin gets stripped off and shit for no reason. Like it's like he's getting hit with like a tornado. Like you can't even see what's happening.
It's just so gross. Like what was the grossest death to you in the film?
I really liked the impaling with the pole part.
That was good.
And he's like just setting him on fire and carrying him around. Like that was like a pretty badass scene right there.
Yeah, it was good. To me, the grossest, most fucking horrifying scene was the chief of the police. When he first like punches him in the face, and then he just like he's just punching him.
Splashed against the wall.
Yeah, that. And I was like, oh, like when because it looks like a fucking like a real dead body or something. It's just obviously it's all digital, and that's to me makes it even.
Is it digital? Weirder. I thought maybe there was a lot of it is, in there.
No, I think it's practical and digital. Like obviously, I think they built a practical body and then digitally like had it slam against the wall and shit like that. A lot of the blood is very digital because the part when. I think one of the things with Derek when he he sort of has this power to start making your eyes bleed and your nose bleed, and it's clearly like fake blood, and the blood splash effects are great in this movie. Like it's just like fucking like top notch. There's just
so much blood, and everything's like got this shitty overall visual look to it that it kind of like the messier it is, the better.
Yeah, it obviously looks like it's shot on digital, like old digital camera, not sort of like the new digital cameras, but I think it works with it. But it's like the shot compositions are very good. Like it doesn't look like every shot
everything's like moving. Like everything feels like very fucking like jittery. Like
and but I mean every shot in this film like looks like they gave a shit about none of their other films look like this movie. Like obviously Emmanuel DeSanti is a very fucking talented guy, and he only did that other movie. So I don't know why he's not sort of doing more films. I mean, obviously,
it's been
with
8
these films,
years now.
Yeah, obviously he has enough talent to sort of do his thing, but I don't know what else he's doing because he's only sort of credited for those two other films, and they thank him for this other movie. They did these three films called Necrostorm. They did these three films called Hotel Inferno, which is like a first person. It looks like Doom the movie, and
Okay.
you're just going around a hotel blowing people like to fucking smithereens. Like, have you ever seen Hardcore Henry? You might enjoy that movie, Hardcore Henry.
I
Actually,
heard about that one. I
yeah,
didn't see
it
it.
was actually fun. I watched it while I was jogging, so it makes sense. Like,
Oh, okay. So you felt like you were in it.
yeah, right, pretty much. But yeah, Hotel Inferno is like that. So Necrostorm is a fun sort of thing, but their movies are nothing like this one anymore. Because this one feels like it feels like once they came out with Adam Chaplin, they had to sort of, up the ante each
I
time.
would
But
love
can't
if
really do it.
if they did this kind of movie, but just a slightly better script. You know,
I see what you mean. What would you have them fix?
I
You
mean,
said adding scenes with Mike
like we
Carrera and
don't
stuff
really
like
know anything about the world, really.
that. Right.
Like we get the vague idea
Yeah, I don't think
that
they have the money for it, really, honestly.
well, it's cheaper to have characters talk than it is to have all this
Yeah,
stuff
right.
happening.
True, yeah. And
Like
I think they would have enough.
that whole like exposition with Denny talking about his dad and everything, and
Yeah, I
like
think
they,
if they had
I don't know.
I mean, the effects for the city sort of blowing up in hell at the end were so good that I think they could sort of fake having background, like more shit about the city. You're right.
They
Because
could
that
have
last scene is pretty phenomenal looking for what it is.
they could have just had like a little more stuff of what the hell is the main guy's name? Oh, Adam
Adam
Chaplin.
Chaplin, yeah.
They could have had
Oh
more
my
stuff with
god.
Adam and his wife,
Right.
and more stuff of like the two horrible sons and Mike Carrera, like just more like talking and
So you were
character
like
development.
legitimately intrigued by the characters. You wanted to learn more
Yeah,
about them.
like it
Okay.
feels like they like threw out these little bits.
Yeah,
And then,
I kind of accepted what this film sort of is like exploitation gore film, and I was like, okay. So I sort of just accepted it. Like once Mike Carrera said he was a war criminal, I was like, okay, whatever. Because I remember like thinking, I was like, okay, so they're building up this Mike Carrera character. I was like, okay, he has like some of the funniest lines too and shit like that. Also, like when one line that had me
Why is
laugh.
he played by two people? I don't understand.
I think one is for like face up close, and the other one's the body. Because
Oh, okay.
But obviously, it's a fake face. Obviously, if it was a girl playing him, they had a fake face on her head.
Imagine she looks like that.
No. The girl playing him is actually cute. She's the lead girl in Tater City. She sort of looks like any sort of cute
Monica
Mexican girl.
Mu-
Yeah, she thinks
Munoz.
I believe she might be Mexican. I'm not sure.
It's definitely
Um,
not an Italian name with the
Yeah, and no, but
sign
she's
over the
cute.
end.
You would definitely think she's cute. But that's the funny thing about Tater City is like it's all world building, like to the minute detail. That movie's world building.
Yeah.
But with this one, yeah, you're right about the world building stuff. But the funny thing about Mike Carrera is like he has some weird fucking like sort of Mexican makeup on his face, like a wrestler. Or
Yeah,
some
he
shit
looks
like
like
that,
the
like Vader or
wrestlers,
something
yeah.
like that. And it's just because his face doesn't move, so he looks like you know how there's that thing
He's
that
got this
people-
like pissed off look all the time.
But I liked his character. I thought once I saw him, but then I realized they just completely wasted his character because he's like he goes
Yeah.
up to Adam Chaplin and goes, "Hey, I could be your friend," and then he just fucking punched him and tell you, "I don't need your help," and just killed him. To me the funniest line in the movie though was with Denny when the other punk son comes back because he just drove off without the blind son. And he
Right.
says, he goes, where he goes, the lying son, the one who drove off, was like, oh, he ran off. And then Denny's like, you telling me my son who's blind rather run on fucking foot than get into the car with you? That shit had me laughing so hard because it's true. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I like that the character is sort of grounded in reality. Like, you get the fuck
Why
out
did
of
he
here.
leave him? He's just such a pussy.
He was just scared. He just ran out. He just drove. He was such a chicken shit, and he got a
Yeah.
horrible death because of it.
Also, that like, they die so quick. Like,
Yeah.
there's no like, I know
Well,
it's
the guy
an
has
exploitation
hell powers
movie,
and
but
shit,
if there
though,
was
yeah.
more development, it would have been more of a payoff.
Right. Yeah, I was expecting it to be a bigger brawl between him and Mike, or even have Mike, like, if they had Mike, like, be his partner in crime, because that's what in Fist of the North Star that happens. The main
But
character.
don't tell anything. I want to.
Oh, okay. No, but Fist of the North Star is like one of those sort of, you know how Cowboy Bebop is sort of legend to us, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it is in Japan. Like, it's one of those movies where they remake
No, I've
it
heard
a
of it
million
so many
times.
times. I gotta.
Yeah,
like,
but same thing happens in Fist of the North Star. That's why I think it's very similar. He doesn't kill the guy, but he's like befriends another fucking guy who can like cut air, with his hands and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Which what this guy does here. So that's why I'm saying Physics North Star definitely fucking informed this movie. So I wish there was more Mike Carrera, but I think they just weren't. They probably were just like, oh, it's just one and done. We'll just do it and just finish it. But
Poor
they
Mike.
really,
Poor
they
Mike
really
Carrera.
did a lot. What would you think is the worst part of this special effect? Like, did you think was the worst aspects of the story? Well, obviously you said not enough story, but did you think
just
there was
not
something
enough
that they could've
stories. The
done?
only complaint
Did
I
you
have.
like the dog story? Because that was pretty character building.
I
thought.
did, but I mean, the final where it shows the reenactment of the dad shooting the dog is like
pretty
so
bad.
stupid.
That was pretty bad. That was like a bad effect because the kid I think is CGI. Like I think he's like a cartoon.
It was really dumb, and then it shows the dad's got like the fakest mustache in the world.
fake his face. Like his face looks like it's
and he shoots at the dog, and it's just like
it was weird because
you're
I was like,
a coward, son, and then just shoots the dog. Like,
it was funny because we heard the story, and then like to see it, I was like, oh, we already heard the story. Like,
yeah,
but I guess
it was just like a pointlessly dumb scene.
Yeah, but I still like the Denny villain. He was pretty funny.
Yeah, I liked him.
I really enjoyed the movie. Like it's one of those sort of how people are like, oh, I can't get into it because of such and such, but this is like it's an Italian grindhouse horror film. It's a fun movie. And
I watched it while I was eating dinner. It was great.
I would put this up against. Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm glad I ate before I watched the shit. But I would put this. I would definitely put this up against any sort of those new, fake fucking grindhouse movies that people make nowadays.
Yeah.
That they think look,
it's definitely better than the Death House movie. That's for sure.
Oh, that's for fucking sure. And I'm sure Death House had more of a budget than this fucking thing did.
Oh, for certain it did.
But it has no elevator scene. I'll tell you that.
Oh Jesus, that was horrible.
Is there anything else you want to talk about the film, or I think that's about it, right?
Not really. I mean, it was good.
It's a very for me. It's a definite seal of approval to watch.
If you're not into gore, like gore for the sake of
this
gore,
is a fucking
don't watch
gore.
it.
This is a gore movie. Like there's no.
This is like axes chopping into people's heads for no reason.
Yeah, but it's like even for like when I watch stuff, it's excessive gore. I like excessive gore. That's why I watched the movie in the first place.
I do too.
But this is fucking excessive.
I mean, it doesn't gross me out. I just find it funny.
I find it I just find it cool looking. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's extremely excessive gore. Like this is like on the level of Dead Alive kind of gore.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's the only reason why it's not equal to the gore of Dead Alive is the whole fucking what is it, the lawnmower scene?
The lawnmower scene is classic.
Gore and shit, but this has buckets of blood.
I haven't seen that in like over a year now. Man.
This fucking buckets of gore in this film. Anyway, what rating would you give this film?
I'm gonna give this a solid 8.
Mm-hmm.
8. I was thinking 7.5 because I'm not so into like gore, but
okay.
like, no, I'll give it an 8 because it was really well made.
It was solid, entertaining.
Movie, it was funny. It was well made. I wish there was more of a story. If there was more of a story,
because it sort of takes itself a little bit too serious, but it's also obviously made by people.
I feel like it has a humor about itself.
Because this could have been a very poorly like edgy movie where people are like, but it like it's.
Well, let me do my rating. Let me do my rating.
Well, I'd like to wax. Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. A man that drew a mustache on his face with an eyeliner pencil, coming out and telling his son who just got his face ripped off, "You're a pussy, son," and then shooting a dog.
That dog looks so funny. I would also give it an 8 out of 10, chiding your son for leaving his blind brother in the street by using logic. God, these people were fucking gross in this movie. They all looked fucking. Oh, you think that was a director's choice? Like, because he's like a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he's like a good-looking guy, so he's like, I want everybody else to look like shit, just so I look really.
Apparently,
good.
His brother. I looked at a picture of his brother. His brother's pretty good-looking too.
Is he related to the guy who's
I mean, I'm assuming they both have the same DeSanti, but
yeah.
Then again, that just means they're from the town of Santi or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's funny because when you Google it, it doesn't make any sense because Emmanuel DeSanti, the photo when you Google the guy, he's obviously the guy that played the blind brother. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Let me see Giulio DeSanti. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand because the face of the guy who, the guy who played the blind brother, it says his name is Giulio DeSanti because, Emmanuel DeSanti. And I don't understand if it says
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Whatever. Go. Somebody figure that out for us, please. Anyway, with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Giulio De Santi.